Welcome to the Seymour Rosie channel. Hi, my name is Dave and this is my wife Vicki, and we started our RV adventures in 2020, and in 2023 we went to Alaska and we enjoyed it that much that in 2025 we decided to go back. So we hope you can join us as we travel between Pennsylvania and Alaska and return. I hope you enjoyed these videos. Well folks, as you can see, we're sitting alongside the road with the hood up, and it shut off again after Vicky. Well, here we are, stopped once again. We went over a little bit of a bump, and it just quit. I even put it in neutral. I'll let you see. There wasn't much of a shoulder here to get off on, and I drifted till okay, now there's just enough of room to get the truck and trailer off the road. And I had one gentleman stop and asked me if I needed help, and I told him I think I'm okay. And I thanked him, and he said that's what we do in the Yukon, we stop. So that was very much appreciated. Good morning out there in YouTube land. It's 61 degrees outside, it's 10:13 in the morning, mountain time. Pacific time, excuse me, 10:13 Pacific time. We just left Whitehorse here a little bit ago, and we are northbound. I promised you an update on what happened with the truck, so let me see if I can remember it all. We're northbound towards Whitehorse from the Laird Springs, and truck was running great. Right now what's happening, we're stopping for road construction. Truck was running fantastic, and all of a sudden it just shut off. No warning. It did not. Did not miss a beat until it did. Coasted to the side of the road, and yeah, we're picking up all kinds of stones and stuff off this freshly laid asphalt, and there's no roller in sight, just a grader rolling it. Anyhow, we coasted to a stop. We had zero cell coverage. But we do have what's called a Zoleo, which is a satellite messaging device. We got it out, got it fired up, and one of the features of it is an SOS. So we sent out an SOS. It didn't take too long for Zoleo to reply. Asked me a bunch of questions. We got them answered, and they were going to send help. It was about 30 minutes. The first thing I did was pop the hood and check the oil, because oil is essential for keeping these engines running. And after about 110-mile drive, but we made it into Whitehorse. And I had contacted Monday morning the first name on the recommendations, a name called Elite Diesel. And they said yes, they could look at it, but they weren't quite sure when. Let them know when I got into Whitehorse. I did, about noon, and the man said, well, maybe I'll have you drop it off this evening or tomorrow morning. Well, I didn't hear anything. He was going to send me a text. Monday morning, I prayed about it and thought, I'm going to go look at these people face to face. So I drove to the shop. I got there right about 8 o'clock, which I thought was their starting time. Turns out their starting time was 9 o'clock. But Kevin was in the office. Kevin was the man I talked to. And he was in the process of sending me that text message that said he was going to look. I see it Wednesday or Thursday. I said to him, man, I said, we only got a campground till Thursday. And about that time, his son walked in, and his son owns the shop, and his son's name is Dustin. And at the same time, Kevin said that a certain man who was supposed to bring his truck in couldn't make it that morning because of some issue, I forget what. So Dustin looked at me and says, look like we got an opening, let's pull your truck in the shop. So they got it fixed this was Tuesday. They got the truck fixed. They replaced the injection control pressure regulator in it. And they came to pick me up at the campground with our truck. And on the way back, Kevin, the owner's father, heard something in the front end of the truck. And I must admit, Vicky had heard something before, and I did not hear it from the driver's seat, and neither could Kevin, so I ignored it, which I shouldn't have done. Anyhow, we got back to Elite Diesel, and Kevin looked at his son Dustin and said, I think you ought to take that thing for a drive. I heard something from the front end of that truck. So in the meantime, I paid the bill, and Dustin came back with the truck and said, oh, it's got a couple problems in the front end. And here he had felt a looseness in the steering, and he checked that first, and he said, yeah, you got a control arm linkage that needs replaced. And then he put it up in the air and spun the passenger front wheel, and I could hear the bad wheel bearing. So he checked and he had the parts, and I said, now the big question is, when can you do it? And Dustin said, we move mountains for people in your situation. And he started tearing it, and this was after 4 o'clock, going on 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Tuesday. He started tearing the front end apart. Had his father stop and get parts on his way back from dropping me off. And to make a long story short, Wednesday about noon, Kevin came to pick me up and the truck was fixed. As soon as I got in the truck, I could feel that the steering was tighter than what it had been. So I believe God was in all this. And so we are now on our way, heading for Alaska again. Thank you. I did want to give a big shout out to Elite Diesel, Dustin and his crew. They did a fantastic job. I highly recommend them.